like I just said here, I'm not sure who needs to hear this today. Just a little bit earlier, actually, throughout like this past week or so, a couple weeks, I've been having a conversation with a friend of mine who's going through a rough time. And you know, it's real for him, right? He's going through just a bit of a situation, and it's real. He's just not happy with life, right? Not happy with where he is in life, and he feels like he's letting other people down in like this kind of big way. I know he's not online, and I'm certainly not going to use any names or where I know him from or any of that jazz. But he's been having this conversation with himself that he's not enough. He's been having this conversation with he's not the man he should be by now in his life. And the thing is that this is the same story, and so, you know, he's telling himself that, and he's beating himself up, and he's telling himself this story, and it's not serving him. And the same thing, everybody does this, right? We tell ourselves, we've been raised this way. Another guy, you know, later in the day, I'm having the same conversation. He's like, yeah, I'm always catching myself doing the wrong thing. And you can say that to yourself. You can say that you're always catching yourself doing the wrong thing. Or you can tell yourself, I catch myself seeing things I need to correct. Seeing how I can correct something. It's not doing the wrong thing. And it is simple. It is simple as changing the way you see things, and change the way you see things, and the way you see things will change. So what's your approach? If you're coming at it and you're looking for all the things that are wrong, your filter is set to all the things that are wrong. All right? And you know, the buddy I was talking to earlier, you know, he's older now, and you know, I'm older, right? I'm, you know, in my 40s, and it's not like we can just flip this switch and say, hey, you know what? You know, for your entire life, you've been trained that way. You've been trained your entire life to see all the things that are wrong, see all the mistakes you're making, see all the corrections you need to make about yourself. And at a certain point, it becomes insurmountable. And especially as men, because we're supposed to just grin it and bear it. There's never anything that's supposed to be wrong with us. We're supposed to be able to take it all in stride and resolve it all, and never say anything about it, right? Because if there's something wrong with us, you know, then we might look weak. I'm having a rough day, I need some help, and I ask for it. I might look weak today. Well, I certainly can't ask for anybody for help, so I gotta go hide somewhere in a corner and just like think about what a terrible life I'm providing for myself or my family or anybody else, or I don't measure up to somebody else. And you know, I asked him at a certain point, I said, you know, he literally said, I'm worthless. And it, you know, pained me like right in the heart. And I asked him, I said, where do you see? Is there something outside of you that is giving you evidence of that? Is there something outside of you that's giving you evidence that you are a bad person, that you are worthless, or is it in your head? I mean, it's a simple question. The story that you tell yourself, because most of the times that's what it is. Because first of all, again, most of us men, we don't have a network that we're really comfortable with sharing with. And I got to another point in the conversation where he goes, you know more about me and what's going on in my life than my close friends. I was like, well, am I not a close friend? But what's that say about your friendships? What does that say about the friendships that you have if you can't let your guard down around the people that you know, like, and trust? Are they friends then? Are they even friends then? Do you even lift, bro? Are they even friends then? Can you let your guard down around anybody? I mean, you know, I think Meg's tuning in here. There's times when I don't feel like letting my guard down around her because I'm not comfortable. And sometimes I'm right not to do it, because sometimes we do need to think through it. And I'm not saying we don't need to think through it and you know, maybe find somebody who's objective or that just doesn't care about my emotions. Because that's the second question. The second question is that I chatted up with him. I said, okay, if you were talking to a friend, if you were talking to your child, if you were talking to your spouse or your children, and they came up to you and they said, I'm worthless, what would you tell them? What would you tell somebody who came up to you and told you that? Because if you're going to tell your friends that, then why? Who are you to yourself? Are you not your own fucking best friend? I am pretty intimidating. You are pretty intimidating. I'm not saying depression's not a thing. I asked him that too. I said, what are some other things you could go do? Can you think about depression while you're doing something else? I can't think about, anything that's making me feel quote unquote bad or down when I'm doing jiu-jitsu, because my next thought is don't get choked out. I can't think of all the things that are going wrong in my life when I'm making dinner because I don't want to burn the chicken. When you are focused on doing something that isn't inside of your head, where where you're like basically somehow you've turned yourself into your own worst enemy by accepting any crap your entire... That's what it is. You've accepted every shitty thing you've heard your entire life, and you've assumed that you own that. And let's be clear then. If you've accepted it, and if you own it, you can also get rid of it. You can get rid of anything you own. I mean, is that right or wrong? I mean, somebody can call shit on that. Somebody say, no, you can't. I got to keep all the bad things I've ever said about myself, because why? Why would you even do that? And I'm not saying that you do, or you have, or you have to. I'm just saying in this situation, that's a question that I would ask myself. And I told him about the story, how I chopped off the top tip of my finger. I said, I did it to myself. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying I catch myself. What are the thoughts you're having? What is the conversation that you're having with yourself? And if it's your life, it's inside your head, then do you not have control of the script? You got to ask yourself, well, why would I write myself into a shitty play? I won't. I asked Meg, and maybe sometimes I'm too far over the top. Maybe sometimes and it's not all I see is the positive, but all I'm going to talk about is the positive. Why would I talk about shitty moments? So I can seem relatable? You know what? I don't care. I'm not going to come talk shitty things just so I can seem relatable, guys. Look, have things happen in my life that are not glamorous? Absolutely. Who cares? I remember Sam Crowley, when he was coaching me, and one of the things I told him was he's like, what is your unique, selling problem? What's your USP? How can you help others? I'm like, I got a story that's like this. He goes, so what? Everybody's got a story. I was like, whoa, cold, bro, cold, right? Everybody does.